In this training, we're going to look at the accommodation process after you've been approved, particularly with how to communicate with your instructors. The first thing to notice is the accommodation letter that you received after you've been approved for those accommodations. This would have gone to either your Navarro College email or the email that you used when you completed the accommodation application. Make sure and read the letter and pay close attention to those accommodations for which you're approved. If you have any questions about any accommodations that you see that are missing, make sure and contact us. You want to make sure and understand that this accommodation letter must be shared with your instructors by you, the student. The Disability Service Office does not let instructors know that you have accommodations. That's your responsibility. There's a couple of different ways that you can get your letter to the instructors. First, you can print a hard copy in person and give that to them after class or during the instructor conference time. If you would like hard copies of your accommodation letter, you can come by the Disability Service Office if you like. Secondly, you can share through the Navarro College student email. This would be particularly helpful when you're taking an online class. Now, what should you tell your instructor when you're sharing the letter? First, you want to clarify exactly which accommodations of the letter you will need for that specific class. You also want to clarify how a particular accommodation will take place within a class. For example, if you're approved for a note-taking accommodation, you will need permission if you decide to record from the instructor. Also, if you have an accommodation such as extra time, you might need to go test in the testing center. This is something that you would need to coordinate and plan for ahead of time. You also want to gain an understanding from the instructor about any of your accommodations that may interfere with the objective being taught. For example, if you're approved for a spelling accommodation in an English composition class, you may not get that accommodation because that is part of the core requirement for the class. Now, what if you have a question about the way an instructor provides an accommodation? You always want to speak to the instructor first. This way, you have set up a clear line of communication between you and the instructor. If you still have questions, please contact the Disability Services Office. You also want to contact the Disability Service Office for any accommodations that require auxiliary devices or aids. Examples of this could be colored overlays, recorders, FM audio devices, interpreters, read and write software, or books in alternative format. There are a lot of resources available. Make sure and come and see us. Now, you need to keep in mind that for the next semester, you will need to complete a semester request. So those accommodations will not automatically transfer over unless you do that semester request. As well, after you go through a semester, and if you feel that you need an additional accommodation, this can be a good time to assess that. And this is something that we can evaluate together. So if you need to contact the Navarro College Disability and Access Services Office, contact 903-875-7377 or 903-875-7731. You can also contact by email at philip.johnson2@navarrocollege.edu or at dsa@navarrocollege.edu. Thank you for watching.